Well, hello there. I'm Tracy Resch-Williams, business coach and consultant for Alaska Tracy. Businesses work with me that are seeking calmness, clarity, and prosperity. Using my vision mapping framework, I guide them on their journey to success. On this podcast, you can enjoy hearing inspirational stories of success, as well as business tips and tools that you can actually use. So thanks for joining in. And please remember, click the subscribe button, invite your friends, and leave a comment. Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Alaska Tracy Podcast, episode 56. Thank you so much for being here today. We have a really special guest. First, I want to share that Visions to Profits membership community is currently open for any women that are seeking calmness, clarity, and prosperity in their lives. You can find more details at alaskatracy.com and click on the link, Visions to Profits. Today, we have Sandra Freitas joining us. And I met Sandra through a program to build membership sites. I think it's been about a year and a half now. And I was really drawn to her enthusiasm. She, on her Facebook group, under her About section, I love this, she's got professional class clown. And that's all she has. She is a dynamic lady who is the CEO at Engaged Groups, as well as the CEO at Chief Geek Officer, she says that's what she is, at WordPress blog sites. She is known as the queen of Facebook groups. She teaches people and has a membership on how to engage and grow a Facebook group. And believe me, folks, if you have a Facebook group, you're going to want to at least join her free group, her free Facebook group. And I will pop the link into the show notes. I have learned so much from her through her teaching, her free teachings of how to create engagement within a Facebook group. And when she's sharing her tips and tools, I think to myself all the time, oh my God, this is so simple. Why didn't I think of it? Because I didn't think of it. So I tap into a lot of Sandra's free stuff, and I'm very close to joining her membership because every time I listen to her, I learn, and I'm able to, the bottom line is, bring my free groups and my paid groups wonderful information to get them engaging and talking amongst themselves. So without further ado, I'm going to let Sandra share more of her backstory, how she got into business, where she came from, where she's at today, and feel free to connect and reach out to Sandra. Thank you again for listening to this episode. Please remember to click the subscribe button, share with your friends, and send any comments. Well, hello, Sandra. Welcome to Alaska Tracy Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me over at Alaska Tracy Podcast. I feel like I've been transported to Alaska, which feels so good to travel right now.
Oh, how's we were just talking about you're outside of Toronto, like 35 minutes, right?
Yeah. So, majority of the leaves have fallen. We have not seen snow yet. We don't normally in October, but that just means it's around the corner in November, December, January, February, March, maybe even April.
So we're recording this in October 2020, and it is almost the end of October, and temps are falling quickly here in Anchorage. We're supposed to be in the single digits tonight, and snow on the ground. And so you're about a month behind us.
Probably,
yeah. Oh, exciting. I met, as I was saying in the intro, I met Sandra through Tribe membership, and I've been following her and learning from her. And I thought it would be really fun, Sandra, to talk about how you got started in business and entrepreneurship and a little bit about your journey along the way. Sometimes I think I do it. I look at somebody that I think is successful and think, oh, they got there easily, or it looks so easy. So maybe you can share a little bit about your
Sure.
experience.
Yeah. So I grew up, my parents were immigrants to Canada, and my mom worked 7 to 3. She worked at like a kind of a factory slash headquarters, like they did engineering stuff. And so she worked 7 to 3. And not being a morning person, I was like, I am never working 7 to 3. My dad, on the other hand, was a real estate agent and he did really, really well. And so he had really flexible hours. And there were days where he didn't go into work until noon. And I thought, that's awesome. Like, that's what I want, right? I want an easygoing morning and then, like, then get into work. And flexible hours or work when I want. And, truth be told, I'm sure he didn't have that flexible hours. People want to see houses after work and on weekends. So it's a little different. He did work Saturdays. I remember that. But between the two of them, I was leaning towards what my dad did because I wanted the more flexibility and I did not want to wake up, at 6 a.m. Not my deal, still not my deal. So I went to school. I actually finished university with a degree in computer science. And part of me was like, it was a really good time to have a degree in computer science. Like everyone wanted you. And part of me was like, yeah, I'll do something in computer science. Maybe I'll own a coffee shop because I really love coffee. And then, I just got job offers and it was just so much easier to go for the job offer. So I went for the job offers and I was traveling, which was amazing. Not everywhere I traveled was amazing. I mean, I used to take 2 planes just to get to Dayton, Ohio. I had my luggage lost twice, traveling back and forth to Dayton, Ohio. I've had my luggage lost 2 more times in other kinds of travel. I've slept in an airport at times because I just couldn't get home with, weather, whatever. So people always think it's luxurious when you travel for work. Let me tell you, I've slept on the floor because all the chairs, they purposely put the armrest so nobody sleeps at the airport. I have, missed flights. I had to get physio done to my shoulder because I didn't have a backpack for my laptop. They didn't make them. So I was constantly on one side and my rollaway luggage. So I really did a number on my body. I felt like the traveling aged me. I did see some really interesting places. I got to see Salt Lake City and Park City. I worked in Puerto Rico for a while. That was amazing. I was in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, where Ricky Martin's manager had a timeshare. I never saw Ricky Martin or this guy, although I did see Jose Canseco. That was amazing.
Oh.
So that was like the highlight of my job career. Like it was cheaper for me to stay at this timeshare than to fly home. So would I stay for the weekend on the beachfront property? Yes, I will. And I will take plenty of pictures and share them with my friends. So that was like the highlight. But after the travel kind of slowed down because, for many reasons, I was like, this job is really boring.
What was your position?
Oh my goodness. I was a technical consultant. And one of my titles was like technical integration consultant. It was like super boring for supply chain management software.
Oh.
If that doesn't bore you to bits.
Oh.
I was bored. And it was like nothing that, I was trained in the tech and I had the outgoing personality to be able to, meet with the clients and train them. But the actual, like how the software worked bored me to bits. So I started looking at what else can I do? And one of the places that I was traveling to for 6 months, I think, was Foxborough, Massachusetts. So that was a nice short flight, Toronto to Boston. And I was reading a magazine. I still have this magazine in my office. And there was an article on how to be, why people hire life coaches. And I had not heard of a life coach. So I thought, oh, what's this about? Because when I went into university, I actually was studying psychology
Ah,
because I love how things work. So it was like, how does the mind work, or how does computers and all this other stuff work? But I switched when I realized how much reading was involved and how little math was involved in psychology. And I really enjoy math. So I switched to computer science. Both was exactly what I was going to go into, but then I ended up switching to computer science. And so I thought this life coach thing would bring back a little bit of the psychology and like how people work and how people's brains work and all that. And so I studied that for a little while. I interviewed some coaches. I went to all kinds of like intros for coaching schools. And I finally settled on a coaching school because I thought there's no way I can learn online. I've never done it before. Boy, things have changed.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
how many years ago was this, Sandra?
this was 2004 when I did my coach training.
Okay.
So it was 2003 when I heard about it. I did an extensive year of interviewing and researching, a little over the top. Um, but so then, yeah, in 2004, I did my coach training with Coaches Training Institute. So they would actually come to Toronto, do the workshop. So there was 4 or 5 altogether, different weekends. So by the end of 2004, I was complete, and I was like, excellent, I'm going to be a life coach. Well, I was involved with this other program, and they needed coaches for volunteer stuff. So I started to do volunteer stuff, volunteer coaching, and I just found how draining it was for me. It wasn't lighting me up like I thought it would. So a friend of mine said, look, my coach is coming into Toronto. Like, it was amazing how everything came to Toronto and I happened to be there.
Right.
My coach is coming to Toronto. He's doing a 2-day workshop. He teaches coaches how to make $1 million coaching business. I'm like, okay, that's great. I don't have a business whatsoever. I don't even know who I want to coach, but I'll go. So I went, and that's when I learned about internet marketing, and I fell in love. So I hired this coach. And it was like a year-long program. So he was back in Toronto all the workshops happened to be in Toronto. So
Wow.
he was back in Toronto. I mean, everything lined up so nicely. So he's back in Toronto 3 or 4 times a year that year. And the very first workshop, he's sitting on his computer and he was like struggling with something. So I like looked around the room and I thought, I can't believe no one's helping him. Like, how come no one's helping him with this technology? So I got up, went and helped him, sat back down. It's happened again. And I got up. I'm like, I can't believe everyone's so selfish. Nobody's helping him with his technology. So I walked up, helped him again. When I sat down, someone said, Sandra, do you know how to do this? I said, well, yeah, doesn't everybody? They're like, no, I have someone sit with me on my teleclass in case something goes wrong.
Oh,
And that's when it dawned on me that I had been so immersed in the tech world, like where everyone knew tech, that it didn't occur to me that my skills were needed elsewhere. So that opened things up. I don't think I
oh
slept
my
for 4
gosh. I
weeks.
just got
Yeah.
God bumps.
Right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It was a neat moment. I will never forget it.
Ah,
That day I left for like a weekend. I would call it a ski trip, but everyone skied but me. But we were up at a chalet, and there I am, like taking notes in my notebook of different things I wanted to do and offer, and like my head exploded with ideas. So of that like mastermind program that I joined with that coach, I got my first few clients. I started writing my newsletter. I started learning more about online marketing. And so that built. So I officially started that business February 2005. And I quit January 3rd, 2006, my job. So I was working a full-time job, and then I would come home. Now I was single at the time, and I lived really close to work downtown Toronto. So I would work from 6 until 1 in the morning on my couch,
oh my God.
Monday to Friday.
Wow.
Saturdays, I would take one day off on the weekends, go visit family and stuff. But that was my life from February to early January. So I quit my job. I was ecstatic. My friends came over for a party. Like, I was just so happy because I really didn't like what I was doing anymore, and it was really wearing me down. It was a struggle to get into work. I felt like I was being pulled backwards as I was walking up the stairs to get to my office because I just didn't want to be there anymore.
Uh-huh.
So that first year was fun. I also took a part-time training job. So I was teaching adults how to use Excel and Word and PowerPoint and XML and all the office products. So that was helpful. So where I didn't have like a ton of recurring income coming in, I had this other possibility of money coming in. And I became one of their top three, trainers, because every time they finished a class, they had to do a survey. And I was amazed by that. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, there's something here too. And I really love teaching. So I built this business where I was called Tech Coach for Coaches, and I would do their tech and internet marketing and consulting. And then we got big, so I started hiring, one person, and then I went on vacation, and that person took over. That was nice. I was like, thank you. I need to get out of here. And I just kept building it. So there's this business who we're rebranding again for the second time. We do all the digital marketing from, your newsletter to your website, to your membership site, to your, all the stuff that you need online, even like highly technical stuff. So that's one business. Now, when I had,
do you still have that business?
yeah.
Oh I didn't know that. I had no idea. Okay.
I
How,
still have it. So yeah.
what's that business called?
So it changed from Tech Coach for Coaches to WP blog sites, so WordPress blog sites, because I wrote a book on WordPress back in 2008, and then I did two more editions. We are going to be rebranding it to Caffeinated Digital because we do more than just WordPress sites, and of course there's the coffee reference once again.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I knew that. I loved you as I hold my coffee cup up. How many people do you have on the team for that business?
So we have one employee. We have something like 7 or 8 contractors.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And that business has been going for 16 years?
Officially, yeah, it'll be almost 16 years. Isn't that crazy? Time is flying by.
Wonderful. I love that.
So now I'm going to get into like when we met. So I had my son a few years ago, and when I had my son, like in Canada, you're supposed to get like a year maternity leave. I heard a rumor, I think it's a year and a half now. But as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to get that time off. So if I worked a couple hours a week. But again, I was like, I need something new. So I wrote to Stu McLaren. I said, look, I know you're up to big things. If you need a volunteer for anything, just let me know. And if you're going to say no, that's fine, because the only other person I'm going to ask is Pat Flynn. So would love Pat Flynn too. So he's like, listen, I'm going to call you. He goes, we have an idea for a business, or, it would be great to get your help. I think it would be great, a great synergy with you, blah, blah, blah. And then that idea didn't take off. But a year later, he's like, look, I know we talked a year ago, but here's this other project. Can you come in and come talk to me? And it was the Tribe course. So it was the membership course. And he's like, I don't know where I need you, but I definitely need your skills. Because he used to own wish lists, and I was doing a lot of wish list builds for membership sites for people. So he knew that I knew what I was talking about when it came to the tech part of building memberships and the strategy of it too. So originally I was supposed to help with their launch of this course, which was supposed to be 3 weeks. That turned into, so that was the 3 weeks of the launch. And I had said to him, I think we need to have a Facebook group for this. So you can do Facebook Lives in there, and you could do this and you could do that and build a community and have them engage and have people have a place where they can ask their questions. He's like, great, but can you manage it? Because no one on the team is going to manage it, but can you manage it? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll manage it.
Oh, wow. And that was right around when the groups were just kind of starting out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'd been around for a while, but this is where people were starting to see the value of them. And so when the launch was coming to a close, you would hear, like, people would say things in the group like, I'll see you in the paid group. Oh, you joined too? I'll see you in the paid group. And we're like, oh, we didn't even think that far. Okay. So she was like, can you stay for a few more months as we run the course and help me with the paid group. Sure, no problem. Within a month and a half after running the course, people were like, we need a coaching program. We need a mastermind. We need to meet together in person. So Stu's like, okay, you're going to have to stay around longer. We're going to launch again in the spring. We'll do Tribe Live in Toronto in July. And when that came around, so that got extended from 3 weeks to like 3 more months to like 6 or 7 more months. And then it was when we do Tribe, when we put it on Tribe, we want you to lead the coaching program. I'm like, sure. So that was another year. So 3 weeks ended up being 2 years and like a month.
Were you an independent contractor?
I was an independent contractor for the first year. For the second year, I was a contract employee.
Okay.
Which, because they knew I did not, I told them, like, I'm unemployable. Like, I'm unemployable. There's no way I can stay employed. I said, okay, we'll do this contract and then we'll take it year by year. I'm like, excellent, no problem.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And you were all kind of making it up as you were going along because it was
like building it,
right.
Because we didn't know that that would be the reaction, that people wanted all this. It's a nice feeling when people say to you, this is what I want and we'll pay money for, as opposed to what I was used to, like, I'll build it and see if anyone wants it. And then the struggles with that. Mm-hmm. So, I did that for 2 years while still running the other business, but I had my team for the most, like, they ran everything. I just did, higher level answer question, things like that.
And you had your baby.
Yeah. And I had my son. Yeah. So he was a year and a half when Tribe opened up. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. He was a little guy. You were juggling a lot.
He was a little piece of work. He's like so energetic and never liked to sleep. So it was. So
was he in the background a lot, making noises? And
yeah, my mom would come over once a week, and so I'd have once a week where I could just sit and work. But yeah, he'd be in the background, or people would know that he's like around. For the first year, I didn't do much. Like, I wasn't on the Facebook Lives, and if I was in the Tribe office doing it, so he wasn't with me. And then after, like, but now, so when COVID hit and like everything changed and he was home, he would run up to my office, like sneak past my husband, run up to my office. And then he's like, I want to say hi to your friends. So like everyone on Zoom was my friend. So everyone got to know him. So that's him. He's hilarious. He's like, Mom, can you get some money? I'm like, where am I going to get some money from? Just get it on your computer. Just press the button. I'm like, oh, if only that was a thing.
It kind of is, Sandra.
In a way, but there isn't like a button that says
shoots it out.
And then you press the cashola button. So I left Tribe after 2 years. Again, I was not employable. What do you
mean by that? I was not.
Well, like, I'm not employable. Like, I don't make a good employee. Because as an entrepreneur, you're so creative and you want to get your ideas done. Like, that, like, I have a ton of ideas. As a business owner, I can implement any of those ideas.
Right.
As an employee, you have to run it by people. You have to tell them why it's good. You have to prove why it's good. And it's harder. Whereas when you're your own boss, you're like, hey, this is the way we're going to do it. And you do it. Right. And when you have to run it by people and get permission, where I just don't,
I know.
And I had a lot of flexibility with them. I did. But as you grow, as the business grows, there's more people and there's different things. So, and because we grew so much, I had less time for creativity and had to focus on like supporting everyone. So there was less time for that creativity and the things that I really wanted to do. And then I just became so tired. Like when you're tired, you're less creative as well. Mm-hmm. So, but I left. It was time for me to, go do my own thing once again. And I didn't know what it was going to be. I just knew that I had to be my own employee again. and or my own employee, my own
Yeah.
boss.
Your and employee, right?
I guess so. I guess so.
That's good. That's good. That was
Oh,
a psychology slip there, right? Own employee.
yeah, somebody write my boss a note.
Right.
So I left. It was end of September 2 years ago, and I left on a Friday, and by Monday I was like, I want my own Facebook group, because when I was working for them, I was managing 6 Facebook groups. Now they weren't all active on this. Yeah, so there was the free group, the tribe alumni group, the active tribe course group, the we had an affiliate group. We had the affiliate group for one of the programs that we were affiliate of. We had the one about the tribe theme. Yeah, so the 6
Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
I recently was involved in all that, and have really just pulled away from that whole like switch directions.
Yeah, yeah.
It can be overwhelming.
It could be. I had my processes or whatever. So when I left, and I needed my own Facebook group because I missed the community, I actually wrote on my profile, like, look, I miss having my own community. I'm going to start one, but what do I call it? So I had people help me name it. They named the group, started growing the group, and then I pulled away from the group, and then I came back to the group, and I'm like, everyone kept asking me about different questions about running a Facebook group. And it was back to that moment when I was at my coach's first workshop where I thought, doesn't everyone know this? It happened again. So everyone's like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, doesn't everyone know this? And a friend of mine kept saying to me, you got to do a course or a membership on Facebook groups. You got to do it. It's the hottest thing. You got to do it. I'm like, everyone knows this stuff. She's like, no, they don't. You know this stuff. So when it comes so naturally to you, whatever comes naturally to you, it almost looks like you've mastered it so much that it just looks easy, and you just think everyone else knows how to do it.
Right.
Right? Like when you're riding a bike and you see someone struggling trying to get on the bike, you're like, what, So
right. We forget.
She kept telling me to do that. Others were like, can you do this? So I put together a beta program for a Facebook group course. I sold it very lightly, no sales page. I'm like, here's what it is. It's going to be live workshops. I'm going to teach you how to do this. And I sold that in February of 2019. By May, Stu was teaching his tribe course again. And all these people were doing these founding member launches, with no sales page, no membership built, nothing, saying, I'm thinking of doing a membership site on this, and I'm thinking of offering these pieces. What do you think? And will you sign up for it? And here's the PayPal link. I thought, what? That wasn't something that we were doing when I was there. So I went into my free group, which only had about 280 people at the time.
Only 280 people.
Well, some people figure you're the Facebook group person, you should have more, but I wasn't focusing on growing the group. I was focusing on what am I doing? What is next? Uh-huh. So I went to them and I said, look, I'm seeing all these people building these membership sites out of nothing. So I think I want my own membership site. I knew for a long time. I had membership site envy when everyone was in Tribe, creating their membership sites. So I said, this is what I'm thinking of. And what are your thoughts? And some people are like, well, you choose whatever makes you happy. I'm like, no. Give me what you want, and then I'll choose which one of these will make me happy, right? So someone said, hey, can you just tell me strategically what to do on Facebook? Monday post this, Wednesday post this, Friday post this. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. That's really easy for me. And then other people are like, yes, I'll buy it. Yes, I'll buy it. So that was May 7th. By May 23rd, I was launching it. So I was putting it together. I wasn't doing as beta as everyone else. So I put it together, designed it, kind of figured it all out. And I did a Facebook Live in that group of 280 people. And within the first 5 minutes, 8 people bought.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, there's something here. And Teresa, I said to myself, if 20 people buy, I will continue this membership. By the end of the launch, I had 97 people buy.
Oh my God.
Which felt so good.
Right.
And since then I've launched my course again. I've launched my membership again. 2020 has been a really good year for our business. Not, not on other aspects, but a really good year for the business. And it's just been a lot of fun to continue with the membership and grow that course even some more. And that's where I'm at. But, it didn't come without some, some months there was financial struggles in the last 16 years. Like some months my team was being paid more than me. And then it was like, here's your tax bill. And I don't know if anyone knows anything about Canada, but like we get taxed for everything. And our taxes are super high. And so when the tax bill came, every time the tax bill would come for years, I'm like, what's the point? Maybe I'll just get a job. Like, what's the point? But the point is, and it maybe doesn't have any reference so much this year, but I like just working from home. I like having my own coffee in my coffee maker. I like, working in my slippers. I like being my own boss. I don't think I could do it with anyone else. Like it would be really hard for me to take direction from someone else at this point.
How many members are in your membership now?
About 200.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's been over 2 years?
A year and yeah.
Gosh. Sandra, that is wonderful.
Thank you.
So you mentioned a lot of listening to what they want or hearing. You mentioned hearing. I heard this is what they want. I think as business owners, our clients are always telling us what they want.
Yeah.
And I think we miss it a lot of times.
Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was thinking, oh, it sounds like it was so easy for her to hear exactly what they want. How did you hear what they really want?
Well, I mean, first of all, I didn't hear it from like October to February. I didn't hear that they really needed Facebook group stuff. Like I was trying to teach online marketing stuff. And people were like, they were here for it, but what they really wanted was the group stuff. And I wasn't listening. And then finally, when I said, okay, like, what do you want in a membership? They're like, duh, I want something Facebook group related. Okay. It took a while. But then I asked, what do you want? What specifically do you want? And then when I did launch that very first Facebook Live, I said, here it is. Here's what it's going to be. And then one person said, do you think you can offer a bonus of what to do when your group is quiet? Sure. Another one. Do you think you can offer what to do the first 15 days of your membership of your Facebook group? Sure. So those have always been bonuses to join the membership because I listened and because if they needed it, someone else needed it too. But I asked questions and I was open and there were things that I got, asked to do that I said no. Whether it was going to be a strain on my energy levels or schedule, whatever. I just said no. Like there's a lot. As I've grown in the business, my boundaries have heightened. Mm-hmm. Right. So there are things that I was willing to put together in a membership and things that I just weren't. So, yeah.
Wow. What is your free group? So people can
free group is Groups for Entrepreneurs with Sandra Freitas. But if you look up Groups for Entrepreneurs with Sandra, you'll just find me there.
Okay. And that's the one that I'm involved in. And I get so much information and good stuff from you that I bring to both my membership community and my free group. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it seems so simple, but yet I didn't think of it on my own. Right? Well, that's super simple. Why did I think of that?
And then it's funny when you become an expert in something, people are like, did you know this about Facebook groups? Or they'll have this problem. And then like, hey, is this working for someone? No, it's not working for me either. I'm like, okay, there's a glitch in this. So it's just interesting how it's all coming together. And all I can hear now is Facebook groups. And, I live and breathe it. I was told I was the Facebook group queen.
Right.
Sure. No one's given me a tiara yet or a crown, but I will gladly wear it on Facebook Live. I think that would be hilarious.
That would. Maybe I'll have to find you one. I've got a magic wand sitting here.
Well, I know when I was in New Orleans, they had a lot of tiaras because of the Mardi Gras or something along those lines. So I don't remember what it was. Was it a pageant or something? But they were in all the stores. They had all these tiaras. And my friend and I are like, what is with all these tiaras? Yeah. So I did buy a very simple one because I thought it would be
Good.
really funny to wear a tiara while cleaning my house. Like, I weird, funny things sometimes.
I love that. I know. I was looking at your about section on your Facebook page, and it says, I'm reading it here, it says, professional class clown.
Yes.
That's it. Like, that's your about section. That's brilliant. I love that.
Well, yeah. And, when you teach technology, I remember once I taught at a big coaching conference just outside of Toronto. And the person hosting it said, Sandra, I don't know how you do it. You're teaching about technology, something that people normally cry about, and yet the entire audience has been laughing. I'm like, yes. And that's how I make sure that no one falls asleep, is I keep you on your toes by laughing, right?
Yes.
And he said, oh, that's pretty smart. But it also comes with the fact that my parents were immigrants. We didn't have a lot of money. I never went to like a bunch of different camps or classes. And I spent a lot of time watching sitcoms. And so I worked on my humor at home.
Where did they immigrate from?
From the Azores Islands, the Portuguese islands.
Wow. Do you go back and visit there?
Yes. Actually, my husband's parents are from the same island as my mom. So I have been there a number of times because he's a big fan. I like to travel to different places, but yeah, they're the tourist companies in all of Europe are calling the Azores the pearl of the Atlantic Ocean, which I think is really beautiful. It's really nice. So
it's on my list for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
One last question, because I know you're a busy lady. How do you define success?
I've been on the online world for so long, and I've seen people go from like, you can see where the happiness has decreased in their lives, and they're just going through the motions as opposed to really loving what they're doing. And I found a lot of entrepreneurs were measuring success by the amount of dollars in their bank account. And I think you can have all the money in the world that you want, but you've got to look at other aspects of your life. Like, is your family happy? Is your spouse happy? Are your pets happy? What have you been sacrificing to get all that? So to me, success is like a balance of things. It's not just, the money, because I could probably charge a lot more than I do, but I love helping people. And that's like, if I could pay my mortgage off in like helping people and like the compliments and the acknowledgements that I get, that would be awesome. I wouldn't charge a thing. Unfortunately, I have a mortgage and I live in Canada. We have lots of taxes. But to me, it's just, seeing people take what I've taught and they've implemented it and they've done well. Like, that's just a highlight for me.
And it shows. You're so helpful.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. Please remember, subscribe and share with your friends. Until we meet again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.